Good morning, everyone. My name is Hrinko. I am one of the docents for the Hearth house, and I'm here today to teach you how to cook on the hearth. The most important thing in cooking on a hearth is making your fire, because without that, you're not going to cook. So we will start with the very basics. You have tinder. Tinder is wood chips, wood shavings, pine cones, something small that the fire can catch onto. And the second type of wood you need is your kindling. A kindling stick would be about a yardstick long. And then once you got the fire going very, very well, you add the fuel. And the reason we need all of this wood is because we are going to build a couple different types of fires. So,
we have a question about the wood that you're using. Is this just any kind of firewood you can find anywhere?
no, this isn't. In order to build a fire, it's very helpful to have hard, dry wood. Because a wet wood will just create smoke and spit, and you'll never get anywhere. So, the other the kinds of wood that you could use are cherry, maple, ash, oak, but do not use walnut, because walnut, once it starts burning, gives off a fume that is toxic to your food.
Is there anything special about the size of the wood that you use?
Yes, there is. It's called, you start out small and you get bigger. So that's why we have this tinder. Now, this tinder is going to be lit by this stuff here. It doesn't look very appetizing, but this is just sawdust and paraffin mixed together. It is my fire starter. So what I would do is put this first into the fireplace, carefully put tinder around it, and then you light the match. And this is what you're going to light. And as this burns, it will burn all of the tinder right there. And then as it's burning and gets going, we would add kindling. And then when that gets going well, we add the fuel.
You mentioned using matches. Did the Hearths have matches?
Sometime in the 1850s, they came up with the early type of match, which would be a lucifer. So yeah, they could have used, in fact, they most probably did use a lucifer. Now, here's the other thing that would keep in period. Back in the 1800s, this would be your whole cooking area, and you never really let the fire go out, because the family's going to need that fire to keep on cooking for the rest of the day. And nobody, especially the women, appreciated coming down here to a cold fireplace. They would have banked it. Banked it means break all of the leftover coals against the wall, find the biggest log that you've got, and you lay that on top. And that will keep the coals hot until the next morning when we're ready to build another fire. You can build is called the log cabin. And you start the same way. You would have your tinder, your wood chips, and your fire starter. Once you get that lit, then basically you lay your kindling alongside, like so. And build a cabin just by alternating the directions of your kindling. As the wood burns, all of that would get red hot coals, and that's what we use to cook with.
There's a question about when you build your fire, what would happen if you just piled everything in really tight together?
Well then, one of the things a good fire needs is oxygen. And if there is not enough oxygen to fuel the flames, then one, you would smother your fire, you'd put it out. And you don't want to do that. The way that you add oxygen, if you see it's not burning quite well, even though you've got everything laid out, you can use a bellows. And you just like that. That gives it the oxygen it needs to keep on going. All right, this next thing that I want to impress upon all of you is fire safety. Now, where I'm sitting right now is in the fireplace. That's not where you want to be. And if you're building a fire, especially in the long skirts, you would want natural fiber clothes. In other words, cotton or wool or linen. Because if you get a hot coal on any of that, it will not melt against your skin. And it's much safer for you to wear these kinds of fibers, and also leather, because you need a leather shoe. If you happen to step into this hot fire to add more wood or whatever, if a spark comes out and your foot lands on top of it, it's going to burn your foot if you've got anything man-made in your shoe. In fact, I do have a set of shoes in which the soles melted.
So what you're saying is that natural fibers, nothing loose, so that there's nothing for the heat or the hot coals to melt or burn. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you very much.